everyone, I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're Drivin and Vibin.
Today we're going to continue our Monday Q&A series after a week hiatus while we were on vacation. But we're going to keep the topic very similar, and we're going to answer your question about how much it costs to rent a car and take this 7,000-mile road trip.
Yep, we wanted to start out and talk a little bit first about why we chose to rent a car instead of flying or some of the other options, and it basically boiled down to wanting to bring our dog with us and all be together during Christmas and not have to go through the cost of flying, boarding the dog, and then renting a car once we got to Maine.
Yeah, a lot of our front-end research showed us that renting a car would be the cheapest way, and for the most part, we proved ourselves correct with that. But we'll go ahead and start to break down those costs for you.
So the rental car had unlimited miles on it, and so we paid about $414 for it. That was $261 for the car and $154 for insurance on the car. We decided to get the insurance for an extra peace of mind. You can also use your own insurance, but this just kind of made us not worry. If anything were to happen, we would be covered.
And with the $261 for the price of just renting the car, we thought that was way less expensive than we were expecting. So to pay that extra for insurance really wasn't a big hit for us.
In gas, we spent $447, and we used about 204.5 gallons at an average of $2.19 a gallon.
And that is with us driving a total of 6,799 miles, and we got an average of 33.24 miles per gallon, which is about 13 miles per gallon better than our truck gets.
So the total vehicle expenses were $862 total. This doesn't include anything like food or the hotel expenses, but just for the vehicle and the gas.
But now we will get into hotel expenses. But keep in mind, we only paid for hotels during 6 nights, and those were during our travel days, 3 each way. Once we got to Maine, we did have free accommodations. So everyone's price will be different for how much accommodations cost. But this is for 6 nights of hotels during 3 nights there and 3 nights back.
So for that, we spent $260, an average of $44.50 a night on hotels.
And we stayed at some pretty dingy hotels, but we also stayed at some where we definitely got our money's worth. We booked primarily through Priceline.com. We found those were the cheapest prices online, but we also used Airbnb for 2 nights, and those were some great deals for good accommodations too.
Yep, and with that, it's kind of just a gamble. Sometimes you get a pretty good hotel for a great price, and sometimes you just get a dingy little hotel. We got really lucky on the first leg of our trip and got some nice clean hotel rooms, but on the way back we definitely were a little more uncomfortable, and they were less nice than the first ones were, but just for getting a few hours sleep before we hit the road again, they served their purpose, and we were able to sleep in a bed instead of try to get comfortable in a car or something like that. So they served their purpose well.
And I don't think we would change it if we were to do it again. We would stick with these cheap hotel rooms just because we only spent a max of 10 hours in them. So now we'll do some price comparisons. For the vehicle and lodging together for our trip, we spent $1,129. And with the price comparison that we did with flying, we found that we would be paying anywhere from $1,500 to $2,300 with flying, depending on what type of plane tickets we got. And also we had to consider whether we would be renting a car when we got to Maine or using Uber when we got to Maine. And
then also the price of boarding the dog for 2 weeks while we were away.
And now, if we would have driven our truck, we would have actually saved $100. We compared the prices with the truck, and it would have equaled about $1,011. But that $100 difference that we paid extra for renting a car, it really is to our advantage of the 7,000 miles of wear and tear that we did not put on the truck.
It was just better for us all around to not use our primary vehicle to drive 7,000 miles and put that strain on it, because it is the way we move our home around, and we did not want to put it through that just wear and tear, and we had more peace of mind and more comfort for all of us too. We had a lot more room for storage. We had more room for river. We were just much more comfortable in a rental car going that far.
The car was brand new. It had a wonderful cruise control system. It had a wonderful Bluetooth adapter system. So we got a lot of amenities, and the truck only gets about 20 miles per gallon. So, I mean, we would spend a huge difference in fuel costs if we would have taken the truck.
Yep, and I don't like driving Kyle's truck either. It's just not what I'm used to, driving a manual. So this way I was able to break up the driving time with him in the rental car.
So that was the cost of our road trip. You know, as far as vehicle and lodging, food expenses were a little too hard to track, because once we got to Maine, you know, we spent money on food, but we also had lots of free meals.
Yep. And we packed our lunch and snacks on the first part of the trip to Maine, but we didn't pack it going back. So there were some unfortunate fast food stops along the way. But I don't think we did too bad on it, really.
And so just to give you an idea, like I said, we spent $1,129. That's renting a car for 14 days, driving right under 7,000 miles from Southern California to Maine and back. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how much, if you're taking a road trip similar, how much you might be paying.
Or if you were just curious about ours, because I know that we will not be taking a trip like this again for a very long time, and probably only if there's an emergency. Yeah. But we did have a fun experience doing this for the first time, and it is cool to say that we did it, you know, and we made it, and we had fun and made a good time out of it, but it did take a lot out of us, and we have been sleeping a lot the few days we've been home.
For sure. And in the next day or two, we'll be releasing a video of how to drive across the country in 4 days and maintain your sanity. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, give this a like button if it helped you out or you liked it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.